Have you ever looked at your retirement statement and wondered how much of that big number you'll actually get to keep? Well, in this quick guide, we're going to demystify the tax rules so you can plan smarter and know exactly what's coming when that big day finally arrives. Right, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You've worked for decades, you've saved diligently, and now you see this huge number sitting in your retirement fund. But before you start making plans, it is absolutely crucial to understand that a pretty big chunk of that hard-earned money might be heading straight to the taxman. The legendary investor Peter Lynch just completely nailed it with this quote. The real challenge isn't just earning the money. It's understanding the rules of the game so you can keep as much of it as possible and put it to work for your future. And that's exactly where our journey kicks off, with the power of planning. Seriously, it's the absolute foundation of a successful retirement. So let's break down why it's so incredibly critical. Here's the deal. Planning isn't just a nice idea, it's essential. We're all living longer, which means our money has to last longer too. But the good news, the government gives you some serious tax breaks to encourage saving. And the magic of compound growth means that starting early is your single biggest advantage. Just think of your financial life in three parts: the building years, that big decision point at retirement, and then finally living off what you've built. So, next up, let's take a look at your retirement toolkit for those building years. These are the main vehicles you're going to use to grow your savings. First up, you've got pension funds. If you work for a company, this is probably your main retirement vehicle. Both you and your employer chip in, and it grows throughout your career. Pretty standard stuff. Very similar to that are provident funds, also sponsored by employers. Now, historically, they had slightly different rules about taking cash at retirement, but some recent changes have made them work almost exactly like pension funds now. And rounding out the toolkit is the retirement annuity, or RA. Think of this as your own personal retirement fund. It's perfect if you're self-employed or if you just want to save a little extra on top of your company plan. With an RA, you are in complete control. Now, here's a really important distinction you have to get your head around. Who is carrying the risk? In an old-school defined benefit fund, your payout is guaranteed based on a formula. Your employer takes on all the investment risk. But in a defined contribution fund, which, let's be honest, is what most of us have today, your final payout depends entirely on your contributions and how the market performs. The risk? It's all on you. Okay, so you've spent decades building up your savings. This brings us to the big one, the transition stage. This is that critical crossroads where you have to make some of the biggest financial decisions of your entire life. When you leave your job, you've got a few key choices. You can preserve your money by transferring it tax-free or just leaving it where it is. But the decision we are zeroing in on today is taking the cash. This is the one move that always triggers a tax event. All right, let's get to the heart of it. You've decided to take a cash lump sum. So, how does the tax calculation actually work? Let's decode this whole process. This right here is the single most important rule to understand. The tax system has a long memory, a really long memory. The tax you pay today isn't just based on the amount you're taking out right now. Nope, it's calculated based on the cumulative total of every single retirement lump sum you have ever received in your entire life. And you can see how this system was built over time. Back in 2007, they started adding up all retirement benefits. Then in 2009, they threw pre-retirement withdrawals into the mix. And by 2011, severance benefits were included too. So yeah, every single qualifying lump sum you've taken since these dates is on the record, and it's all contributing to your total. And this is why timing is absolutely everything. Look at this. If you take a lump sum at retirement, the first $550,000 is completely tax-free. But if you make an early withdrawal before retirement, that tax-free portion just plummets to a measly $27,500. And here's the kicker. Any of that tax-free portion you use up early, it's gone for good. It gets subtracted from the $550,000 you'll have available when you actually retire. This cartoon just captures the government strategy perfectly, doesn't it? The big tax-free amount at retirement is the carrot, trying to tempt you to preserve your savings until the very end. And the painful tax on early withdrawals? Well, that's the stick, designed to penalize you for dipping into your funds too soon. So the actual calculation is done in 4 steps. They take your current lump sum, add all your previous ones together, and then they figure out the tax on that new, bigger total. Then they give you a credit for the tax you would have paid on the previous amounts. But here's the critical result of all that math. Every single withdrawal you make pushes you higher up the tax ladder for the next one. Okay, we've covered accumulating wealth, and we've walked through those critical transition decisions. So finally, let's look at what happens in the post-retirement stage, when you actually start living off all those savings. Unless your savings are below a certain limit, the part you don't take as a cash lump sum, which is typically at least 2/3 of it, has to be used to buy something called a compulsory annuity. This is basically the product that pays you a regular income, like a monthly pension, for the rest of your life. And one last vital point. That annuity income is not tax-free. Not at all. It gets added to any other income you might have, and it's taxed at your normal personal rate, just like the salary you earned during your working years. So we're going to leave you with this final thought. The tax rules around retirement, yeah, they can seem complicated, but they're designed with a really clear purpose: to reward long-term saving. Now that you know the rules of the game, the real question is your retirement plan set up to win?